Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad and Instagram at Movies TV Mad 555. Now, before we discuss my prediction for the final global box office of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, there has been many leaked photos from the Flash movie, including a screen test for Sasha Calle's Supergirl, which she looks great. Michael Keaton's Batman's Batcave, which looks sensational. A picture of Barry Allen in Michael Keaton's 89 Batcave, and also a couple of great shots of Keaton's Batmobile. I'm not going to show you any of these because I don't want to get in trouble, but you can find them. They are out there. I hear Warner's are blocking several accounts that are leaking these pictures, so I'm not going to risk my YouTube channel. I'm telling you they're out there and they're awesome, and all I can say is bring on DC Fandom Volume 2 in October, which will be covered in its entirety here on Movies TV Mad. Right, now let's get that out of the way and discuss my prediction for the global final box office for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Listen, this movie is R-rated, and a lot of people will say, so was Joker, and it did well. Yes, it did. First of all, it was Joker. Joker is one of the most popular characters in DC Comics, or any comics, including Marvel. Very popular, always going to make lots of money through the intrigue. The controversy that was created and contrived by the media and some of the critics helped make people intrigued. If you tell people not to go and watch something or taste something, they're going to do it just to see what it tastes like. So Joker was a successful movie, pre-pandemic, made over $1 billion. Obviously, there is a pandemic, but most movie theatres are open now. I think the world is going to get a third wave of COVID-19, the Delta variant and the South African variant. So I don't know if things will close down again. But at this moment in time, most movie theatres, including America, are mostly open. So you ready? My prediction for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad will be 500 million. Why 500 million? Well, as I say, it's R-rated. Now, I hope it makes more. And I'm sure certain people with certain agendas will say 500 million is a flop. It won't be a flop. It'll actually be a great, solid result. I think that will be great for the movie, and I think everyone at Warner and James will be happy with that. But we really don't know. We don't know what people are doing. The tickets are up for sale now to buy the tickets before release now. I don't know how that's going, by the way. There's been no articles, there's been no buzz about that. So hopefully people are going out and buying records amounts of the tickets for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. But I do believe that 500 million is really a lot of money for this film. I think, as I say, it's R-rated. Now, we know that R-rated films can do really, really well. We've just been talking about the Joker movie. Listen, an R rating doesn't stop anyone, doesn't stop kids, doesn't stop families, because there's no one there to say that you shouldn't have this ticket. If an adult buys that ticket for you, you're going to get in. But, and I'm not encouraging kids to go and see this film because it is a very, very violent and brutal film. Don't let James Gunn's history in comic book movies fool you. This is James Gunn unleashed, and it's very bloody, it's very compelling, hard to watch at times, so it is the comic book come to life. This is the Suicide Squad after all. And it's interesting, isn't it, where James Gunn's The Suicide Squad has got bright colour palettes. Don't forget, most, if not all of David Ayer's Suicide Squad, or definitely the theatrical version, was at night time. Very, very interesting and hard to shoot at night time, because you've got to make sure people can see what's going on, and I have no complaints there. But I'm happy that this film was shot during the day and the colour palettes are a lot brighter. It just helps. It just helps the ambience of the movie. But yeah, 500 million, I'm saying. I'd be very, very interested in how much you think the film's going to make. Do you think I'm wrong about 500 million? Do you think it'll make less? Do you think it'll make more? I'm aiming for 500 million. Anything more than that is a huge result. With films and the success of films, it's all about it's about two things. It's about the intrigue to get records amounts of people to go and see it on the opening weekend, so you can gross 100 million. I mean, it took Black Widow till about Wednesday to gross well over 100 million, which is good with the pandemic now. So they're good sales. Normally, she may have even made 200 million by now. And so she's well on her way to at least making 500 million for the MCU. I would think could do more. But again, with Black Widow, great weekend, that holds you, great opener, which holds you in good stead. But later on today, we should find out the drop-offs. There's always a drop-off. Is it a huge drop-off? Is it a small drop-off? Is Black Widow the kind of film that people want to keep on going back to see? And it's the same question we must ask of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Has it got rewatchability? Well, it has, from what I saw from the test screening. I haven't seen the full movie yet, and I can't wait to do so. But I feel that this film will have a lot of excitement. People will want to go back and see it. Part of the mystery, of course, is who's going to die and who's going to survive. That's something I can't tell you. I have knowledge of some people that I saw die in the test screening. Remember, it was only a 90-minute test screening. But don't forget, it was a test screening. Those people may survive now, and maybe in the finished article of the movie, other people died. So this is why, first of all, they trust you to see these test screenings. You can't go around leaking shit. It's not fair, but there's no point leaking shit about test screenings because things can change very quickly. It depends on the reaction from the audiences. Thus, why it's called a test screening. And so, yeah, I'm saying 500 million. I think that's right. I think it will have a very good opener, by the way. I think it will have a similar opener to Black Widow. I'm looking from around 50 to 80 million for its opening weekend. But I think domestically, globally, I can see it making about 500 million before it finishes. And as I say, my reasons for that is the pandemic. It's on HBO Max. Of course, around the world, there's no HBO Max. So if you want to see it, you'll want to go and see it. Always, with box office, always focus on your global. Don't focus on the, as what they call the international. Focus on the global. Don't focus on just the domestic in America. It won't make sense to you. I had an argument once with a pundit saying, well, America's one of the biggest countries, blah, blah, blah. It's the most important box office. It's an important box office, but we don't just count one box office. Here on Movies TV Mad, we count the global, because if I've got a chain of 60 shops, I don't just count how many Coca-Cola I've sold in one of those shops. Do I now? I count how many cans of Coca-Cola I've sold in all the shops, and that's just common sense at the end of the day. So here on Movies TV Mad, we look at the global. So after the opening weekend of The Suicide Squad, we will see what it makes. Maybe a few more movie theatres around the world opening. The UK will be fully opened on Monday, by the way. This is very good news. Don't forget, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad opens about a week before, I think, than it does in America. They've actually moved up the release day in America one day earlier from the 6th to the 5th because the 5th is James Gunn's birthday. And I am preparing a special wrap for you, James, so don't miss out on that, my friend. But listen, there's something special to the build-up of a release of a DC movie. There's this weird feeling I get inside of me. First of all, I want it to be a great movie. I don't want to hate it. It breaks my heart to hate a DC movie. So these are the two things that are important to me. Also, I want everyone to love it. I want the pundits to love it, the critics and the media to love it. So far, so good with that element. So many people talking about that. So the reactions are good. Hopefully the reviews are good when we see them. So that should be a good Rotten Tomatoes score, which is also very important, not to me and you, but to the normies, to the broader audience, to convince them to go and see the movie. And so we will see what that opening weekend does. But definitely 500 million, I think, is a fair assessment of where we are right now, with it being R-rated and it being a Suicide Squad after all. So how can it earn more money? We've already spoken about opening weekends and rewatchability, which are always very, very important. But I also feel that the biggest thing about a James Gunn movie is James Gunn, because James Gunn can not only write and direct great movies, he can sell the movie as well because he's a salesman. He did it with Guardians, he did it with Guardians 2, he even did it with Brightburn because he was producing that movie. And that did okay, not brilliantly, but it did okay. So he is a salesman as well as being a great director. And I feel the same way. That's what Snyder really did with the Snyder Cut. He was promoting that movie. James is doing a lot of promotion for this movie, but Warner Brothers are doing some great marketing. Make no mistake about that. Ignore the propaganda. So yes, this is this is the unknown element about this film, the James Gunn effect. Is he as popular as he was with Guardians and Guardians Volume 2, which made lots of money, despite some fans and critics being a bit mixed about the second one? I thought the second one was fantastic. It took a more serious tone. There was still gags. The tragic story of Peter and his father, played by Kurt Russell, was brilliant. And James is saying that Volume 3 is going to be a more deeper, darker movie, still with a few gags, but this one's really going to sting. That's what James is saying. I'm very interested about Guardians Volume 3. Let's see if James actually gets to finish that movie, because I do not think the relationship between him and Disney, since he was sacked by them, is very good. They may have brought him back, but he's saying some interesting things. But definitely his future is with the DCEU, and that makes me very excited because this man's very talented. So we've got to take into account, is he as popular now as he was? And was the revelations of his tweets going to hurt him now? So we'll soon find out. I think movie fans are very, very fickle and don't give a shit about this. So I think we should get a great opening weekend and a great solid, no matter what people with an agenda say, of 500 million. I think that's going to be a great box office for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Anything more than that is definitely a sensational result. Before we call it a day with this video, this is a tweet from Sean Gunn after someone with an account called Weasel says, "How was Weasel in the movie? Glad you enjoyed." And this is what Sean Gunn had to say. "The early reviews I've seen describe the actor playing Weasel as having a raw, sensual energy that vibrates off the screen and charisma, not seen since the Haycon's days of Montgomery Clift and James Dean." Sounds pretty good. I think Sean may be actually joking here. But if that's the kind of reaction, that's really, really good. Look, Sean Gunn is actually playing two characters in this film. And I forgot the name of the other character. I think I showed you his picture, totally bald. He looks like Lex Luthor. Of course, he's not Lex Luthor. Sean Gunn, even though he's James Gunn's brother, is a very, very talented guy and has every right to be in James's movies, if James wants him in his movies, of course. So that's very exciting. Listen, we're not far away from the release of this movie. And as I said earlier on, the build-up to a DC movie being released is something very special. Whether it's Superman, Batman, Blue Beetle, anyone. Because James Gunn doing a DC movie, it's so exciting. And from the reactions everyone's saying from the finished article of this movie, I'm very excited to see it. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think I'm going to love it. I've been watching one of the 4-minute documentaries where James and the cast are talking. Absolutely fantastic as well. So I'm really, really excited. All I want from this movie is to enjoy it, love it, for everyone to love it, and for it to do really well in the box office. My prediction of 500 million is a brilliant result no matter what people say to you. That would be a hit. It wouldn't be a groundbreaking, record-breaking hit, but we will see how people respond to this movie, and I can't wait to find out. I will see you in the next video. Comment down below, remember, let me know how much you think that James Gunn's The Suicide Squad will make in its final global run. So comments down below. Like, share and subscribe. Come and find me on Twitter @MoviesTVMad and Instagram @MoviesTVMad555. Until the next video, goodbye.